Hey guys, welcome back. It is week 16 of Life After Prep, and this is probably one of the best weeks of 2020 for me for a couple of reasons. We had I think I mentioned last week, we were doing our 5-day countdown to launching Carbon. So we had the official launch on Friday, and I cannot believe the amount of positive, overwhelmingly supportive messages from people that have downloaded the coach and are starting to use it. I am just so happy with the success of this, and just in the first, I think, 72 hours, we're now up to 5,000 subscribers, which is just amazing. And it hasn't even been available for a week yet. So that's really cool. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, it is Carbon Diet Coach. That is the Instagram page, or if you're wanting to check it out on the App Store, it's available for Android and iOS, and it's just Carbon Diet Coach. So yeah, that was so fun to have that. We actually did a little bit of celebrating on the weekend. And it was so funny because here's why. I did a Q&A earlier in the afternoon after our launch. So Lane and I jumped on and did a few lives and answered a heap of questions about the functionality of the coach, how it works, and just talked about it, I guess, and did a few screenshots and screen shares for about an hour. And then straight after that, I was like, ask me a question. So I think I got 2 or 3 in, and at that point we had started having some celebration drinks at our house. We had a few friends over, and one of the questions I looked at the next day was do you drink? If so, what's a normal amount of alcohol you would have, da da da. And I'm just laughing as I'm putting my response in, because usually, I don't drink a lot. If I do, I'm probably doing it to feel a little bit of a buzz, but I'm not out to get wasted or anything, because most of the time the next day I have to get up and exercise or train or work or look after kids. I don't normally do that, but on Friday I definitely went a little bit hard. I may have ended up face down in our front lawn just watching the grass grow for a little bit, and I may have been pulled inside the house, and I spent a good part of the evening on Friday into the early morning looking at the tiles of my shower and a big blue bag and a bin, and I was very sick. So I guess I can't say that I don't just always have 2 or 3 drinks, because Friday I definitely didn't do that. I think we had wine, we had beer. I feel like there was shots involved. We were doing some is it ping pong, the game back and forth, or no, beer pong? That's not something that Australians ever do. I had never heard of this game until I came over here. In fact, our nanny explained the whole rules, and that was the first time I played it. So it was really fun, but if you lose, there's consequences. So I was just hey, I can do this. Haven't drunk in a month. And yeah, I didn't fare very well. I'm probably not gonna do that again for a very long time. I hate sitting on the couch, and for the better part of Saturday morning, I sat on the couch. I laid on the couch, actually, and every so often, I look over at Lane, he's on the other couch, they're separated. We're laying there, and I'm like, should we go for a walk? He's like, yeah, we probably should. We just sit back down, keep doing some social media, and an hour passes, and I look over, he's on to his second movie, and I'm like, I think we should go for a walk. He's like, yeah, we probably should, shouldn't we? All right. And then I think we just gravitated to our bedroom where we laid down, and we're back just laying there chatting. And I'm like, geez, we're really failing at this walk business, aren't we? He's like, yeah, I'm not feeling so crush hot either. So yeah, Saturday was not my best day. I have had better days. But anyway, that was our Carbon launch. We had so much fun doing that. And I feel I also hit a squat PR. So this week I came back and hit another PR in my squats. So it's been a really positive time for me with my training. I think I hit a PR last week, and then I hit another one again this week, and then this is my final week this week coming. I haven't done my squats yet. So I'm super excited to get back into the gym. I think that's on Friday. It is Tuesday today. So I've got a few days to kind of limber up and get some treatments and therapy. And hopefully I can go in on Friday. And my goal is to hit 300. I don't know whether I will. I think I'm pretty close. I did 285 last week. So, yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully you guys can check it out on the socials. What else is happening this week? Oh, another big change. So just kind of looking at my trajectory with my body weight, body composition, and my current calorie intakes. I actually did a little bit of math the other day and was like, oh, I didn't even realize I'm at a really good amount of calories for my lean body mass. So we'll jump up in a minute and have a look on my spreadsheet, kind of where I'm at and what I would consider like normal caloric intakes. And then you've got like high caloric intakes, and I'm kind of right there, which is awesome. So it's something that I haven't really been able to achieve in at least the last 2 years because I've been dieting for shows. So yeah, the fact that I've been able to kind of hit these targets and be here for a good few months is definitely something that my body needed. And I also think that it's something that I needed from like the psychological standpoint. And again, for anybody that has dieted for contest and is competing at a high elite level, like the amount of conditioning that the athletes need, whether you're a bikini competitor nowadays or a fitness competitor, so I do Fitness Diva, or if you're in like the IFBB Federation doing figure, like the conditioning is extreme. If we go back, 10 years ago to like some of the first figure competitors, so like Erin Stern, who's local here in Tampa, she won Miss Olympia for figure. And I look at her physique now and she is still softer than some of the bikini girls, which is just crazy. So I guess for me, like the amount of restriction that has been kind of ongoing last year from like May through to December when my last show was, like I've probably spent the better part of that time like under 1,600 calories, which is crazy. Like I still am able to reverse up. I think I got up to like 2,200 last year, but it was so fleeting. It was like a couple of weeks and then I'm like straight back down because there's another competition. So yeah, this year I think I definitely needed the break, and I'm also not going to compete this year. So I put up a post the other day kind of just explaining why that was, and I think it's just time for me to focus on my business and just giving my body that break that it needs, because it is so tough. And I think one of the really good things about the federation that I compete in, which is the WBFF, is that it's not based on a point system. So unlike some of the other divisions and some of the other federations, in order to be able to compete against like the top line girls, you need to have equated, if you don't place in the top 3, and still you're denoted points, if you place first, second or third, if you don't place in the top 3, it's then kind of, it falls back on what is your overall score for the entire season. And when they look at for the supporting girls to get on stage, they're like literally looking at the number of times they've competed and what their point system or what their total points equate to. So it's not like that for the WBFF. I still get the opportunity, if I wanted to compete at Worlds this year or next year, but I don't have to compete back to back to back to back, which is just so hard on your body. So I think it's really cool that they haven't employed something like that. I hope they don't. I'm not sure. I mean, it's a business, and I think it was kind of the way that things had to go because there were so many competitors in, the IFBB league. I guess they kind of had to do that. But yeah, it's another reason why I kind of stopped competing in that federation. Not only were the girls in figure just juicy, like I don't like that. It's not what I want to look like. It's not my desire. So there wasn't really a space for my body type. So I have a lot of mass. I'm not wanting to get so big that I'm like rivaling the like performance enhancing, girls. But then I'm also way too big to compete as a bikini competitor. Yeah, it kind of just made sense to kind of fall back into this position. But yeah, I'm definitely having this season off. And this week, like I said, I'm switching goals. I'm going back to maintenance now. So I'm not going to be trying to continue increasing my calories for a couple of reasons. But we'll go over and have a look at my spreadsheets. And I'll kind of bring up the calculator and I'll show you how I've worked out. Like I'm at a good spot. And I guess what my targets will stay at and when I intend to start like a little bit of a conservative fat loss. I don't want to do it as aggressive as I would if I was competing, because I'm not competing, and I have no desire to get to that level of leanness, because it literally occupies all your time, all your life, all of your thoughts, and every single part of the day is always about food, training, and there isn't really a lot of room to give anywhere else. So all the other areas of your life during that time kind of really take a big hit. And I don't think I need to do that anymore. So I'm at the point where I'm nearly approaching what I want for, my lower body. And once I get that, it's actually kind of cool, because I can actually pull my volumes back a little bit, and I'll probably be able to maintain that new level of leanness, that new level of muscularity. So it's just getting there is half the battle, but then you can kind of retain it, just with a consistent program. And hopefully I can pull my volume back and make it a little bit more manageable and a little bit more enjoyable too, because right now it is hard work, like every day. And we're training in the garage. Because we're not planning on staying in the house for very long, we're like, nope, we're not going to worry about putting in like a full air conditioning system or anything like that. So it's just hot and sweaty every single day. So anyway, let's go and have a look at these numbers. Okie dokie. So, where are we? Wow, week 20. Are we sure? Yeah, week 20 of reversing 3 weeks or 23 weeks in total, because I made that silly error of trying to do a mini cut. Silly idea. Anyway, here we are, 20 weeks into reversing. I still have a couple of weeks to go. So I've got two more weeks of building before I start a conservative diet. So I'll be starting that on the 1st of June. I'll be kind of doing that as a bit of a launch with Carbon Diet Coach. I'm also getting up some new programs onto the BioLane Workout Builder as well to kind of collaborate. So if people are wanting to join me on this, fat loss phase, you can do it using the Carbon app. You can use the coach to actually coach you through that process. And then training is covered obviously with the Workout Builder. So we'll be kind of doing regular check-ins. It'll be super fun. I'm doing mine really conservative because I just know the struggles of trying to do a more aggressive fat loss phase. And I have just finally been able to get to a spot where my calories are good. I don't have any of this cognitive restraint, and I've just felt so much better, and my mood has been so improved. So if I do this, and I'll probably talk about it a little bit more in the coming weeks, but I would like to try something a little bit more intuitive and really start listening and honing in on my hunger signals and hunger cues, because I haven't been able to do that when I have dieted for shows, because there's always been this kind of hard end date. You have to be at this level of condition at this exact time, and that just adds so much more, difficulty, and I guess having the pressure there just makes it more stressful, knowing that you've got to be at a certain spot at a certain time. So for this time around for me, I'm not kind of putting an end date on it, and I'm just going to see where I end up, which is super different for me. But I think it's I've kind of gone through a full circle with the way that I approach things, and I've had to go through some of these processes to get my, to the level of muscularity that I want, to get to the amount of calories that I know I'd like to be able to sustain long term. And I'm finally kind of back to a point where I think I know what works best for me. I have tried so many different strategies when it comes to nutrition intervention for fat loss, and it's been a 10-year process. Like, I've tried so many different strategies to see just what clicks with my lifestyle. And it's probably very likely that in the coming years, like, those things are going to change again, depending on what's going on in my life, depending how busy we are, depending on what routines we have going on with our businesses. Like, things are always changing. And so it probably will change again. But I think for where I'm at right now, I'm super excited to try a conservative approach and to kind of listen to my body when I need to, rather than being on a timeline. So looking back at last week, the 5th of May, protein was really good. I really had to ramp that up. I had kind of just let myself slacken off just a little bit on a couple of days, and it was kind of impacting my overall weekly protein targets. So I had another really good week being compliant to my protein. You can see it kind of varies a little bit from day to day, but the only day that I would say, bad girl, you didn't do a good job, was Friday. And that was the day that we had our celebration. So I chose pretty nutritious foods for the most part during the day. Like high volume foods. I'm such a volume eater, so I'm always having like veggies, big bowls of salads, and just high fiber foods in general. I love the miracle noodles. So like in the morning, like I was doing all of that, knowing that I didn't want to get to the end of the day and have something to drink and have nothing in my stomach. Not only from the perspective that it can make you feel sick, but also from the perspective that I don't want to end up being like ravenous and hungry. And we know that when you're kind of under the influence of alcohol, I guess your better judgment is often skewed, and for a lot of people, when they drink, they end up over consuming their calories as well because they're also eating a lot. So my approach, I guess, if I am having a few drinks, is to kind of set myself up for success, insofar as, you know, I've really done a good job at trying to get all of my protein in already. I've tried to eat more, fibrous foods, nutritious foods earlier in the day, and then I can kind of relax and just enjoy a few drinks in the afternoon. So you can see here, that was the day my fiber was lowest. So I only had 22 grams of fiber on that day, and I had about 50 grams of alcohol. So that's a lot, but it's not very often. And gosh, it was nice just to kind of finally celebrate that. But for the rest of the week, I did a pretty good job. So I actually think I under-consumed calories. Yes, I'm actually a little bit shy this week. So normally, like knowing me, I'll kind of sit on the upper end of what I kind of considered to be compliant. So like 100% up to 103% is kind of where I would say is compliant. 3% either side of 100. So I'm a little bit shy of my intakes this week, but my protein was good. It was just that my carbohydrates and fats were a little down. And I never thought that I would say, like, I would feel full. I think it's because, honestly, for the last couple of years, I have always been, pressured to diet. And even after the diet, I probably hadn't spent enough time out on higher calories for my hormones to fully recover and to start kind of sending the correct signals to my brain. So, I have been here for a fairly long period of time now, and I'm finally feeling full. Like, it's amazing. Like, I sit there with Lane at the dinner the other night, and I was like, I don't think I need to finish this meal. Like, it's the first time in, I cannot remember when, where I actually pushed my plate away and I was like, I can't eat. I don't want to eat the rest of that. I feel really full. So, it's been 6 months since I did my show, and I'm only just getting back to that point. So it can really goes to show how much of an impact your leptin levels can really take a hit when you're dieting so often, and for them to finally return to normal. Now I haven't had my leptin levels tested recently, but I know based on the previous research studies that we were doing, and there's a case study of individual pro physique athletes, and mine still had not returned 6 months after the show last time. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're only just starting to get back to normal now, but it's actually on my to-do list. I've got to get in and do all my working bloods and just see kind of where my baseline is before I start this fat loss phase, because I love just seeing how the human body responds. So anyway, a little bit low on the calories this week, but my weight kind of held steady. In fact, it kind of is reflective. By the time I took my weight on Sunday, I was down at 70.8, so it's not a big drop, like 0.3 kilos. But I think had I continued to stay around this 2,000 mark, it probably would have dropped back under 70 is my estimate. And for that reason as well, knowing how full I have been feeling lately, I don't feel like I need to add any more calories. Like, I'm at a pretty good spot. Like, I'm struggling at the end of the day, which I never thought I would ever say, oh, I'm so full. It's just not something that's ever, I've ever had. So anyway, just to quickly show you kind of also some other supportive data to help me kind of make that decision to get to maintenance. If we take my current body weight, so if it's 70.8, come on, Oz. And we times that by, I think I'm about 20% body fat right now based on the skin calipers that we have at home. So I times by 0.2. So at the moment I have about 14 kilograms of fat mass, minus 70.8, and 56 kilograms of lean body mass. So if we go 56 times, if we take my current calories, so 2270 divided by, oh my God, what is wrong with this calculator? 2270 divided by 56. So I'm currently at about 40 calories per kilogram of lean body mass, which is now into the high kind of range. So we talk about in the reverse dieting guide, I guess, acceptable ranges of calories. Not only is that based on your lean body mass, but it's also based on your activity levels, because if somebody is really, really active, well, then we would expect them to have greater energy requirements. But for me, I am somebody that unless I plan to do like an hour walk every day, I wouldn't even get close to 5,000 steps per day. I'm very sedentary, but my training is very intense and very difficult, but I don't get a lot of steps in during that time. So based on my current activity levels, and these equations are in the book, I'm kind of in that high category based on my activity levels. So yeah, I'm pretty good here. I think the highest I've ever been up to is probably around 45 calories per kilogram of lean body mass. But I have no desire. That was when I was a lot smaller and I was much more active. So I think based on how active I am now, I don't want to eat anymore. I'm good. I'm very good here. So yeah, I'm hitting the brakes. I'm putting it to maintenance and I'll stay here for the next 2 weeks. I'm just really focusing on my training, focusing on like good technique, keeping my body healthy, and then, you know, we'll start this fat loss phase, and I'm just very excited to see all the hard work. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. I think that's probably enough for you guys this week. But if you have any questions, of course, leave me a question down below. I'll have the links in the description for not only the reverse dieting guide, but we'll also have links in the description for our new coaching app, Carbon Diet Coach. Again, that's available on iOS and Android. If you're wanting any information about our contest prep guide or Fat Loss Forever, again, description will have all of those links. That is full of education. This is like accrued years of knowledge, and you can find it in a consolidated place. You can probably get some of this information, you know, online from various YouTube channels, from our social media and things like that. But this kind of pulls it all together and puts it in a nice sequential order so that everything kind of makes sense. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe to my channel and give this big old video a like, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.